product spotlight video. So this one's about our waterless wash. So a lot of controversy about waterless washes. Some say they scratch your vehicle. Don't ever use them. They can scratch your vehicle, but you can also scratch your vehicle when you wash it too. It's just all how you do it. If you're doing it the wrong way, yeah, you're going to scratch it. So this is not a quick detailer. This is a spray on, wipe off, waterless wash, meaning there is no water. You use, well, there's water in it, but you use this and you use a towel, and you use a lot of this. Be liberal with it, because the whole idea is to spray the panel one at a time, and you encapsulate the dirt or the dust that's on it. And then you get a clean microfiber towel and fold it in fours. And you can do, I personally don't think you should do more than a couple sections, depending on how dirty your car is. Flip the towel over to a fresh section, and so on and so forth. You want to be generous with this stuff, because the more you spray, and I mean, you don't have to, it doesn't necessarily have to be dripping on the floor, but you need to use a fair amount of it, because the more that you spray on there, the more lubricity you're going to have, and the less chance you've got of scratching. Does this take the place of washing a car? Absolutely not. And I figured this would be a good example. So I've drove the GTO 2 times, I think, since it's been washed, and there's some brake dust. There's a little bit of tire dressing sling on the bottom of the rockers. There's a little bit of road grime on the bottom of the rockers. It's pretty minimal. There's some dust where it's set in the garage, but this would be an ideal situation of where you can use this. And you could actually use this on a car that's slightly dirtier than this, but don't go using this on a vehicle that's got mud caked all over the side of it, or it's just hammered in the front with bugs. You're going to scratch your paint. This is just for in between washes, just when you want to like kind of freshen it up, but you don't want to rewash it because it's like 85% clean. So fantastic product for that. So you can buy this at reflectivecarcare.com. I probably should check and make sure it's on the site, because this is one of the new-ish products that we've got, and I think it is. If it's not, I'll fix that. But it's $13 for 16 ounces. But this stuff's pretty great. It also has a little bit of polymer protection built in as well. So nothing crazy, but you know, you're going to get probably another week or so of added protection when you use this. So, you know, definitely not a replacement for a wax, but it will add just a little protection. So try and keep linear motions and use light pressure. And that's pretty much it. And this stuff you can use on plastics, of course, paint. Use it on glass. Actually, it works really well on glass. It does not tend to streak, so works well on glass. Use it on wheels. Really haven't found a surface that you can't use it on. You can use it on rubber trim, and it works well. Pretty versatile. And it also adds a little bit of slickness too. So as you're wiping your panel off, you actually feel it get pretty slick. And it's got a little bit of a scent to it. Don't ask me what it is, I don't know, but it smells pretty good. I feel like it's some kind of gum flavor. I don't know. I've smelled it before. Like a, I don't know, a spearmint, something maybe. Let's do the glass. You can actually cheat a little bit on the glass. Glass can certainly scratch, but I'm a little less worried about flipping my towel over just yet on the glass than I am with the paint. This stuff flashes pretty quick too. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera. When you wipe it on, obviously you can see the moisture, where you've got a streak of where the product is. Probably should still go back behind that. Make sure there's no streaks. But it flashes off pretty quick. And if you have ceramic protection, this stuff doesn't interfere or do anything weird with it. So you're fine to use this stuff if your car is coated, or if it's waxed, or if it has sealant on it, or whatever the case may be. It seems to play nice with all of the different types of toppers. So like I said, not a replacement for washing, but a really nice product for touch-ups. Got a lot of customers that actually use this in the spring months and early summer when pollen is crazy. You wash your car and you set it outside, and 10 minutes later it's yellow. This is a good answer to that without having to wash your whole car. And I always suggest going from the top down, whether it be the hood or the roof, and working your way down on the vehicle. Save the bottoms of the car, behind your wheels and your back bumper, and probably your front bumper, because most people's going to have bugs all over their front bumper. Save those for last. That way your towel gets the dirtiest at the end of your waterless wash. And I am guilty of using one towel to do most of the car if my car is this minimally dirty. It's always a good idea to use multiple microfibers. And that way, when your first one, your second one, your third one, whatever, gets dirty, you're not just dragging dirt and grime and stuff all over the car. So you have to figure out how dirty the car is. Well, if it's dirty, don't do this. Wash it. If it's got dust and a few spots here and there, like we have here, just use multiple microfibers. Put them into fours, flip it over, and change your sides up. And I'm sure I'm telling you something you already know, but do not clean your wheels first and then go back and use that same microfiber on the paint. Same way when you're washing your vehicle. I don't have a problem using the same mitt that you wash your car with on the wheels, as long as you wash the wheels last and as long as that mitt gets laundered before you wash your vehicle the next time. Because even if you can't see it, you're going to have brake dust on your wheels. And if you take that to your paint, you're going to get some nasty scratches. So just keep that in mind. I have tried several waterless washes because I think this does have its place. And there's a lot out there. I've tried everything from Rain-X, the El Cheapo waterless wash. It's actually not all that terrible. Don't buy it. It's not that good, but it's not that terrible. All the way to Optimum. Chemical Guys has one. Blackfire has one. Let's see. I've got a cabinet full of them. And the RCC Revive version performs just as good as any of the ones that I've used, and better than the majority of them. So this stuff doesn't streak, it doesn't smear, and like I said, as an added bonus, you're going to get a little protection left behind. So definitely one of our bigger sellers. All right. Let's fold this again. Probably do a few more panels and then we'll change towels. And even if you use this stuff liberally like you should, you can still do a vehicle several times or multiple vehicles. But one of the biggest things is don't apply pressure. Just let the product and let the microfiber do its thing. And this is a minimal dirty car. So just keep that in mind when your rag starts showing, your towel starts showing that. You should be aware, because when you start using that on the other panels, you're spreading that to some degree. Microfiber will hold a lot of dirt and grime. The problem is if there's sand or gravel or anything that has any that could be abrasive, I'm just going to drag that on the rest of the paint. And also, don't do the insides of the fender well, the edges. I only suggest going to the edge, because if you start getting your towel into here, especially on the fender liner, it's going to get nasty quick. I would probably use a totally different towel, or you could go back after the car's done and pick the cleanest dirty side. A lot of times what I do on like your first towel, and go in and do those areas. You don't want to take that and actually start dragging that across the paint. So I guess there's not a whole lot more to say about this product other than you should buy it. But I guess we could talk a little bit about why I have a Fox Body shirt on and I'm wiping down a GTO. So if you watched my first video, in that video, yeah, so keep track of that and keep towels on hand. So you could use that on a few more panels, but always err on the side of caution. And I think it's always good to overuse than underuse on these towels, especially if you have your paint where you want it. So back to what I was saying, I am cleaning a GTO and I have a Mustang shirt on. So the reason for that is I wanted to mix it up. At some point, we'll go into the car that I had before this, which would be the car between my last Mustang and this car. And it was a 2002 Z06 Corvette. Always had a soft spot for those cars. I wanted to try something different. So I did, and I enjoyed it. It was a fun car. I wanted something different after that, so along came the GTO, and it's kind of where we are, kind of why I have it. Not really much of a story, but when you own 11 Mustangs, and I don't say that arrogantly, none of them were super expensive cars. You know, I didn't have 11 Shelbys or, you know, Celines or Roushes or anything like that. But after you have 11 different Mustangs, you kind of want something different just to try. So I'm kind of on this LS platform right now, and it's different. I like it, but it's different. I wanted something that I could put my logo on, and I wanted something that I could do a cam swap and something that would make a little noise. And that's really the reason for this car. I was going to get a Pontiac G8, and I still would like to have one of those someday. But A, they're very expensive to find a pretty decent one. And B, Chevrolet had that stupid idea of that displacement on demand stuff, which to my knowledge was on all of the G8s. That whole thing where they turn off, or you're limited with your cylinders to conserve fuel mileage when you're not in the throttle, and it limits oil to the lifters and leads to issues. So this car has the 6-liter in it, makes more power than the G8 GT, and does not have the DOD. So it was a win-win. The back of the car was dirtier than what I thought. So in that instance right there, you're gonna fold again, flip, and well, let's refold and reflip. All right, so now we got 2 more clean sides. So anyway, the G8s had something that I wasn't a fan of trying to work around. It was going to be more expensive to do a cam swap and all that jazz. So here come the GTO, and I have to worry about that stuff. These are kind of easy to find. Easier to find than a G8. But they are cheaper usually. So after getting this car, had a good friend of mine that's a mechanic here in McMinnville, Tennessee. Shout out to John Brady, John's Automotive. He does fantastic work, super good guy. He done the cam swap. We left the lifters alone because this car doesn't make any noise, and I didn't want to pull the heads. So lifters are left alone. BTR stage 3 cam with the correct BTR push rods and the valve springs to support the camshaft. He also added pace setter long tube headers with the connecting mid pop. So cam headers, Edge Performance. They do torque converters. And there's a gentleman by the name of Andre, works there. I had ordered a converter for a Fox Body Mustang years ago, and I was very happy with the converter I got from Edge. Turns out Andre is still working there, and he built me a converter for this car. So it is a 3200 stall, and I'll try and put some links in this video if you are a GTO guy and you're looking for a cam swap and all that other good stuff and supporting mods. I can share with you what I went with, and I'm happy with it. I guess the rest of the car is pretty well stock. It does have an X-pipe, and it has the MagnaFlow Race Series mufflers, like the tube style, the ones you can see straight through. So car's got a good sound to it. Surprisingly, no drone on the inside. Car made on a Mustang dyno. The car made 403 or 407. I think 387 pound-feet. That was on like a 95-degree day. I really feel like if the car was re-dynoed on a cooler day, I really think it would make, 415, 420 pretty easy. But that's just me guessing. The only other thing is I tried a Spectre cold air intake. I don't know, maybe I just got a dud. I kind of wondered and second guessed myself when I got that for the car. But I got a really good deal on a brand new one, like a really good deal, and I thought I'm going to try it. And of course, it's all metal piping, and the car freaked out. This was even before the cam swap or the headers or anything. Put it on the car. The car had idle issues. It would hunt for an idle. It just died a red light. It was that stupid cold air kit. You could fry an egg on the tube that would go to the throttle body, and I'm sure my air intake air temperatures was through the roof, and I suspect that was maybe the biggest issue. So I took that back off and put the stock airbox back on it, and the car ran perfect again. So I'll show you this in a minute. I wanted something different. I don't know if you can see it on the camera view right now, but on the passenger side, I took not the passenger side, on the driver's side, I took the fog light out, and I routed a hose, and there is a mesh screen that it's all custom. It's not anything fancy, but I feel like it's a clean install and it looks good and it functions. But there's a mesh screen. Basically a big rubber hose coupling to give that screen something to sort of bite into. And then there is a hose that I routed from the bottom of where the fog light was to the bottom. Actually cut a hole with a hole saw in the bottom of the airbox, factory airbox, below the filter. So really, not only is it a cold air intake, but it's a ram air intake. So that is really the only things that is done to this car. I think the only other thing, I never really was really one for wanting to make crazy power, going to the drag strip or that kind of thing. If the car runs good and it's fun and feels pretty stout, I'm good with that. I do think I want to do an intake swap of some kind. Probably the heads will always be left alone. Um, but I don't know what direction what direction I want to go with that if I decide to do that. Actually, the car runs really well right now, and street manners are really good. So I don't know if I want to fool with it. As you can see, the wheels are on it. I've got the wheels for the back, matches the front. I just wanted a more aggressive look. I say I don't drag race, but I've got track wheels and drag radials on the back of the car, but they're honestly just for looks. So that's really the only purpose that they're there for. The back are 15 by 8s, and they have Nittos 275/60. Nope, I'm just looking at them now. 275/50 Nittos on the back. So, oh, you'll have to roll your fenders, all that stuff. I didn't. You just change the springs out, or really you can just go to the parts store and buy those rubber spring spacers. It doesn't affect the ride, and that way it just keeps the springs from bottoming out. They don't get into your fender. So that's kind of the story on the GTO. And of course, like I said, it's got the logo with the logo on it. I will probably have another Mustang at some point. Would like to have another Fox body, but the market for those are insane right now. So if you're listening to this video and you have a Fox body and it's nice, don't give it away, because you've got a little bit of a gold mine sitting there. Used to buy those things for a nice one for $4,000 to $7,000, and you almost can't buy one in boxes for that right now. All right, we've almost got the body of this thing wiped down. Just got to do the back deck lid, not the deck lid, trunk, back of the trunk, and the back bumper. I'll have this thing wiped down, and the front bumper. And this back bumper is a little gritty, so let's grab another towel. We'll follow up with another clean one. Like I said, some people are cringing right now watching this video. I am very particular with my car. If I just washed it, drove it twice, and all I have is the normal surface contamination, it's minimal, some brake dust, I'm not going to wash it again. I'm going to do this. Because if you're careful and you use enough towels and you do a method somewhat like I'm doing, you're not going to scratch your car, provided you're using the right product. Stuff is very slick. Very slick. It's actually just polished this car for the second time that I've owned it. The first time I went after it with some pretty aggressive stuff. And the second time I wanted to play around with a product that I've wanted to use for a while. And this car is not super nice up close, which is actually another reason I bought the car. For one, I can enjoy it more because it's got paint chips and it's got scratches and it's got stuff that I can't get out. I can make it look better, but I have seemed to enjoy this car more because it has its imperfections and I don't freak out when, well, I don't freak out as bad when there's a rock chip or new scratch or whatever. The other thing, I feel like this kind of vehicle represents what a lot of people that I would sell products to or offer services to. A vehicle that's nice, but it has chips and imperfections and this and that, and it kind of shows you what you can do with a vehicle that's not well worn, but has some character, has some abuse, so what you can make it look like and still make it look good. So that's another reason that I have this car. But there are those days where these rock chips do drive me a little crazy. But I'm not painting the front of this car. It's an 05 and I enjoy the car. And if I have it painted and get it perfect, it's not going to match the rest of the car, because the rest of the car has chips and imperfections and this and that. And if I do all that, I'm not going to have that much money tied up in I don't want to have that much money tied up in this car. And I wouldn't enjoy it either because I'd be afraid to drive it. It would be too nice. But whoever had it took care of it, but they didn't put PPF on the front. They didn't, they probably done some interstate driving. I do know that these GTOs, what I'm learning about them, at least the silver cars, they have issues. And this car is doing it too. You can probably look on camera and see from there, but we've got a line here. The paint just starts to chip, but you've still got paint underneath it. It's very odd, but there's places here and there. So from a distance, it looks good. When you get up on close to it, you know, not as much. All right, so the car is already done. Um, it's time to do the wheels now. So, you know, this rag is saturated from the back bumper and the front bumper, and I've still got some clean sides. And the wheels, I mean, these are new wheels. They're not crazy expensive wheels by any means. I don't even remember what brand they are. Um, but if you've got a slightly more soiled tile, you can get by with that more on the wheels than you can the paint. I don't know, wheels seem to be more resilient to certain degree, at least some wheels. So another thing about these GTOs that I didn't know was finding wheels for these things is a challenge. They got a funky offset. Well, there's just not many. There's not many companies out there that offer a whole lot of choices that fit like they're supposed to. There's a bunch of wheels out there that fit. You just kind of have to bend the rules. I think the factory wheels, well, the wheels this car came with are the 17 by, I think they're 17 by 8s. And they had like a plus 52 or 55 offset or something crazy like that. They like sucked way in. And I wanted something to be a little bit more out, a little bit more flush. So these are 18 by 8s, bigger diameter, same width. But these are a plus 30, no, 40 millimeter offset on these. So that brings the wheel out this way. So gives it a little bit more of an aggressive look. And the back, well, with these, they're pretty aggressive. They're actually slightly further out of the fender well than they probably should be, but I don't care. I think they look good, and it's not getting into my fender, not really causing an issue, so I'm gonna run them. And these are the Jegs. What are these? I mean, it's like a Weld Pro Star knockoff. They're actually like really nice quality cut wheels. I actually have the same wheel on a 2020 Mustang GT, and I really like them. But they were pretty inexpensive, and they fit well, and it kind of hit the look that I was going for. So we got 2 more wheels to do, other than a couple of windows and the rear glass. It's done. So much quicker than rewashing your car. The other thing too, something that drives me crazy after you wash a car, and there's ways to help avoid this. When you wash your car, and of course there's no way around it, you're gonna get the brake rotors wet. Really, the best thing to do, and it does help, is take the car down the driveway or just down the road for a few feet and get on the brakes a couple times, kind of hard, and that will push a lot of that brake dust or clean that surface rust really on the rotor. It'll get rid of it. And then when you finish washing your car, you kind of clean all that up at the same time. Otherwise, if you wash it and let it sit there and dry your wheels, the first time you take your car down the driveway and you stop at the end of the driveway, you have black wheels that are going to be orange because all that rust dust ends up on your wheels. So it's still going to happen no matter what you do, even if you drive your car, but it does help a lot. There's another product out there that I've used for a couple years. I don't use it a lot. I go back and forth. It helps. It's called Hyde's Rust Stopper, I think. Um, Basically, after you wash your car, you spray this stuff on the rotors, and it's some sort of chemical that does not allow the rotors to flash, a rust flash, and it works. Um, Again, still not 100%. So why I say that is, when you do this, what minimal spray you're getting on the rotor when you clean your wheels from a waterless wash, that first few times you stop, your wheels aren't going to be orange. They're still going to be black. All right. So I'll do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of glass, and that's pretty much it. Car's back to the way it's supposed to be. It was actually a little dirtier than what I thought. It doesn't take long, that's for sure. But if you're interested in this stuff, reflectivecarcare.com. We ship, all over the U.S. Although if this channel takes off, I'll let you know if that changes. But for now, yeah, we'll ship it to you. So information on the site. Also, there is an apparel option on there. So I'm repping the old school logo, the Fox body. That's still there. The new logo's there, with the tachometer. There's other things there that's got, I think the All About the Details shirt. That one's on there. So go check the apparel out. And got any questions about the product or anything else, feel free to leave a comment, and we'll catch you on the next one.